Hello, everybody, and welcome to another IELTS journey with Fabi, where we talk about everything and anything IELTS. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fabi. I'm an IELTS expert here in Brisbane, Australia, and I help people prove their English level so they can study, work, live abroad so people can live their dreams. Okay. Do you have the dream of studying abroad? If you do, it does not matter what you do, you need to do the IELTS test. Okay, guys. So for any opportunities abroad, you have to do the IELTS test. And that's why I'm here because I want you to live your dreams. Okay. And today, this live is a special live because on the let me remember the date. I think it's 18th. Yes. 18th of August. 18th, 20th, and 22nd of August. Um, we will have my special event, IELTS Booster, where I will tell you everything about the IELTS test. It's a great place to start if you're starting your journey. It's a great place to go if you have even failed your IELTS test. Okay. So the boost with the IELTS booster, I will help you with everything and anything IELTS test. Okay. And the event is free. You don't have to pay anything for it. And the event is online. You don't have to come to Australia to see me. You can see me online. All right. So to join this event, if you're watching me on Instagram, you can just type join in the comments and you will get a message from me. If you are watching me on YouTube, you can just click on the link that will be in the description of the video. Okay, so I like to see all of you at the workshop. Okie dokie. Cool. Now, today, yeah, let me see my notes here. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about something that people think is the right thing to do when actually it isn't really the best thing. Actually, it's a common belief. What is a belief? Something that people think is true, but it's not actually that true. Okay? Why? Studying English isn't enough to pass the IELTS test. Did you know that? Did you know that just studying English isn't enough? Did you know that? Let me know in the comments. Oh, also tell me where you're watching me from. I like to know where you guys are watching me from. so so did you know that studying English is not enough? What should you do instead? I'll tell you today. All right, let's get started. So, oh yes, my notes here. All right, okay. So, um, I'm gonna share with you a few things that I hear from my students. Okay, I hear this from them, and then you tell me if you think or do the same. These are a few things that I hear. I hear this, and then you tell me if you have thought of it or if you have said it. Um, I'll take the IELTS test after I improve my English. Have you ever said that? Have you ever thought that? You can write in the comments, me. Okay. So, have you ever said or thought, I'll take the IELTS test after I improve my English? Mhm. Or something like, I'm not ready because my English isn't perfect. Or something like, me, yes, David, I know, David. I think, David, that lots of other people here too, but they're a little bit shy. So, David, tell me. Oh, wait, David, I have another one for you. Oh, me. Okay, David, both. Or I have another one for David. Guys, let's see what David's gonna say. I'll just keep watching Netflix and doing grammar apps. Is that you, David? Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. Yeah. So, oh, Fabi, I'm not ready. I need to study more English. Oh, Fabi, my English isn't perfect. Oh, Fabi, I'll keep watching Netflix. No, no. Okay. Both of them. Cool, David. Yeah. At least you recognize it, but don't worry, David. We'll talk about it today, and I'm going to show you that that's not the best way to go. Okay. I'll tell you all about it today. And if you have any questions, guys, pop the questions in. If I can't answer the question straight away, I'll answer them later. Okay. Cool. So, uh, again, guys, bottom line is you don't need perfect English to start studying for the IELTS test. You don't need perfect English to get a good score on the IELTS test. Okay. I've had students with very, very good English that could not get a high score. And I had students with so English that got a high score. For example, that happened recently, actually. I had a student who was quite advanced and a student who was like intermediate, right? Let's just talk about writing. No, let me tell you all the scores. Okay, so this student whose English was not very good, okay, he just needed a 5 for a sponsor. His English was like intermediate, right? He needed 5 for a sponsor. The other one needed 6.5 for university. 6.5 for university. Now listen to this. This is a very interesting story. So the student who needed 6.5 advanced level, he got, I think, 7 for listening, 7 for reading, 6.5 speaking, 6 for writing. Okay. My other student who needed 5 for the sponsor got, I think he needed 5, but nothing less than 4.5. I think he got 4.5 for reading, 5 in listening, 5.5 in speaking, 6 in writing. So a student who's advanced, one of my students who's advanced got 6 for writing. The other one who's intermediate got 6. How? How is this possible? Does anybody know? You can write in the comments. How? How is it possible? And people say that writing is the hardest part of the IELTS test, huh? How is that possible? A person with very good English got the same score as a person with medium English. I will tell you in a moment how it's possible. Wait there, guys. Wait there and I'll tell you, okay? So, this is just an example. I'll tell you in a moment how this is possible, okay? But then I had another student, okay? So she came to me. She did only a few classes with me because her English was pretty good because she had lived in the United States for 3 years. She did high school in the United States. Okay. David said, I really don't know. Don't worry, David. I'll tell you in a few moments. Okay. I'm just going to tell you another story and I will combine the stories and I'll tell you what happened to these people. Okay. So, this student, she lived in the United States for 3 years. She did high school there. So, can you imagine what her English was like? Amazing English, amazing English. And she needed 7 in each part, 7 overall to apply for residency. I think it was for her residency. Yes. So she was studying by herself, her English is pretty good. She had a good job in Australia, talking to Aussies all the time, no problem to communicate. But then she did the IELTS test. And I think she got 7.5 for listening, 7.5 in speaking, but then reading and writing were quite low. Her writing was 6. Her English was perfect, but her writing was 6. How? How is that possible? Because she didn't know how the IELTS test works. She didn't know. That was the problem. She spoke English very well, but she got the essay and she was like, what do I do here? Right? She got the reading. The reading was academic. She doesn't read academic texts. She didn't have time to finish. She didn't know how to manage the time. Okay? That's why. And the IELTS test is like a game. There are rules for the IELTS test. And if you don't know the rules, it doesn't matter if you speak English well, you don't know how to perform. Okay. For example, when it comes to writing, there is a structure I have to follow. Mhm. When it comes to reading, you don't have to read the whole text. People don't know that. There's a time pressure. Listening, you can only listen once. You cannot ask the person, hi, can you repeat, please? In speaking part two, especially, people don't know what to do. This student actually, come on, her English was very, 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 very good. Oh my God. After we talked, I think she got 8 for almost everything. Just after I explained to her what a test was like, she got 8, which is like perfect score. In the speaking part, she told me, I explained to her the speaking part. She's like, can I take notes? So when the examiner gave me the piece of paper, should I take notes? I was like, yeah, that's why she gave you the piece of paper with the pen. Like, I didn't know that. And I thought, and she thought that the, the, Jesus, part two, the information that the prompts that the examiner gave her was to give her an idea of what to say. So she didn't really talk about what was there. You know what I mean? Like, so just small things like that. And she improved like 1, 2 points after that. And she finally got her seven that she needed to apply for her residency. Okay. So for example, in writing also, in writing, we need to know how the examiner is going to check your test, right? So again, guys, it's all about what do they want. That's why I'm here to tell you what they want. Okay. As you know, I am not an IELTS examiner. If I were an IELTS examiner, I could not be here with you right now. But I have lots of friends who are examiners. I was trained by an examiner. So I know what they want. And I talk to them all the time. Every time you guys have a question I can't answer, I call my friends who are examiners. Hey, and I talk to them and I ask them questions. All right. So that's it. Okay, guys. So you need to know how the test works. That's how it is. It doesn't matter if your English is perfect. We have to know how the test works. And now I'm going to tell you. So, how could a student of mine who's advanced get 6 in writing and a student of mine who's intermediate get 6 in writing? With a good structure. The student who was intermediate and got 6, we practiced so much writing. He was really worried about writing, but he was enjoying it because he was improving his grammar. He could see improvement. The student who got 6, he was struggling a lot. And listening and reading were easy for him. So he was just practicing listening, reading, listening, reading. He didn't practice a lot of writing. But what we did together was enough for him to get a 6. He needed a 6. Yeah, 6.5, nothing less than 6. Whereas the other student, he got 6 and he got 4.5 in reading. He's like, how is this possible? I said, because you have a good structure. And he said, oh my God, I finished so quickly. Someone said, hey, Fabio said, hello, how are you? Guys, if you have any questions, pop the questions in, okay? If you have any questions. All right, cool. Now, okay, let me tell you a little bit more. Okay, so, okay, so the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is, okay, methods. Okay, guys, methods. Okay, so as I just said to you, methods are the best way to learn how the test works. Okay. And I get lots of people messaging me, hey, Fabi, I want to know more about your method. Hey, Fabi, I want to know how you work. Okay. And that's what makes a difference. And again, there are lots of methods out there. Okay. Some are more comfortable for you, others less comfortable for you. Okay. But what do you need to do? You need to find a way to understand the test better. Okay. Someone says here, is it real to migrate in Australia? What do you mean by this question? It's real to migrate in Australia. Can you write the question again? I didn't understand. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. um, okay. So I was saying, yeah, I was talking about the method. Okay, guys. So you have to understand the test. How are you going to do that? The best way is to ask for help. Okay, because again, it is okay to watch videos on YouTube. You are here watching videos on YouTube right now. Okay, but you have to find, okay, a way that you can understand the test very well in details. And again, for example, if you have a teacher who teaches general English, that might not be perfect because this teacher might not know how the test works. Actually, I have lots of friends who are general English teachers, and every time someone asks them about the IELTS test, they give them my number. They said, no, I can't do this. Okay. Oh, Fabi can. Talk to her. She's very good. Okay. And then that's when we talk. And that's when I help students. Oh, a question here. Oh, sorry, guys. I understand now. Yeah. So is it easy to immigrate to Australia? Yes and no. Okay. I think I mentioned that before. Oops. I think I mentioned that before. Australia wants people who are young, educated, and who speak English well. Why do I say that? I feel that one of the easiest and best ways to come to Australia is on what they call the uh, skill visa. So if you have a skill that people want, that Australia wants, okay. For example, if you're an engineer, if you work in IT, if you're a nurse, if you're a teacher, okay. So if you have any of these jobs already, you can come to Australia on a skilled visa. However, you need to be a certain age. I think you cannot be older than 40. I think you need to be a certain age. You have to have a degree, you have to have experience in your area, and you need to speak English well. Okay, that's why I'm here, guys. You have to do the IELTS, and I think you need a 7 on the IELTS test to apply for this visa because they want people who speak English very, very, very well. Okay, so yes, it's possible. Okay, actually, Australia was a little bit hello, Kayo, how are you? Okay, so Australia, they were capping, meaning they have a limit of students that they could have. But apparently they're changing again. I just read an article yesterday. Okay, and apparently they are allowing more students in. Okay. I'm a farmer, not good English. Maybe you can help me with language. You're 34. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if you're a farmer, maybe there is a visa for a farmer. I don't know. I don't know. Guys, it's all about research. It's all about research. And again, I can't help you with your visa, unfortunately. I'm not an agent. I'm not an immigration lawyer. Okay. What I share with you is what I hear from my students. Okay. What I see on the news. All right. That's what I share with you. But if you really need more professional advice when it comes to visas and types of visas for Canada, Australia, UK, you should do your own research. Okay. And also talk to an agent, maybe. Or if you want to study, the university website, I think, is the best place to go. Okay. If you're looking for scholarships, these are the kinds of things that I don't have a lot of information about. Okay. So, but yeah, but I'm here to help you with the IELTS test because I know it does not matter if you want to study abroad, you have to go. You have to do the IELTS test. If you want to work abroad, you have to do the IELTS test. If you want to live abroad, you have to do the IELTS test. And that's why I am here to prepare you for that. Okay. Kayo said something here. I'm fine, but I'm a little bit frustrated because it's complex to get an advanced level of this magnificent level. Kayo, can you explain a little bit more? Get advanced, you mean become advanced, or maybe do an exam where you can prove you are advanced? Can you be a little bit more specific, please, Kayo? Okay, just so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it can be hard to become advanced, because if we think about it, to be advanced on the IELTS test, you need a 7. Okay, and most people, it's quite easy for them to get a 7 in listening and reading, and speaking and writing not so much. Because remember, guys, we have, and again, this is something for you to understand. Okay, you speak English well, yes, but then you see your scores all over the place. I'm going to explain it to you. Okay, so that's the topic today. English is not enough. We have to know the IELTS test. Why? Why? Because um, we have what we call receptive skills. What are receptive skills? Receptive skills are the skills where you just understand, reading and listening. You just understand. You don't have to do anything. You read something, you understand. You listen to something, you understand. Okay, these are what we call receptive skills. But then we have what we call productive skills, in which you have to do something. So productive skills are writing and speaking. These are the productive skills. When you have to do something, okay, you have to do something. And then what happens? Usually, we improve the receptive skills faster than we improve the productive ones. So your reading and your listening will improve faster compared to your speaking and your writing. And maybe that's what Kayo is talking about. I don't know if Kayo has been practicing for the IELTS test. Oh, yeah, he says, yes, teacher Fabi. I meant in exams for proving the level in order to get a well paid job or traveling abroad. You have B1. All right. And you need C1. Is that correct? Are you trying the IELTS test, Kayo? Is that what you're trying? And tell me a little bit more about the opportunities. Okay, Kayo. Thank you. Yes, guys. So maybe that's Kayo's case, right? He's studying and then he's listening and his reading are very good. But what about the speaking and the writing? Okay. And again, with my students, I usually start with listening and reading because it's quite simple. And then once they start improving, okay, it's easy to study by yourself. Of course, they can always get in touch with me if they are struggling. Always. Okay, but it's it can be faster with the improvement. However, speaking and writing are problematic because you have to do something. And the question is, how do you know if you're doing it well? You need someone to help you. You need feedback for that. And most people don't get feedback. And even when people get feedback, sometimes they don't apply the feedback. And that can be a problem too. Okay. Between B2 and C1. Okay. All right. And you're practicing for the IELTS test, huh? Join my workshop, Kayo. And I'll tell you all about the IELTS test. And that'll make a lot of sense to you, I think, Kayo. I think because, guys, in the workshop, one of the things that I talk about are the mistakes my students make. That's something we're going to talk about. I'll tell you about my method. I'll tell you about the mistakes my students make all the time and how you can improve it. Okay. And I'll explain the IELTS test to you, and I'll give you a few strategies at the end also. All right. So much stuff in the workshop. Oh my God. So much stuff. So much stuff. Okay. Cool. So, yeah. So today we are talking about English is not enough to get a good score on the IELTS test. You really need to know how the test works. All right. I've seen people with low level English get a high score, and I've seen people with high level English get a low score. Okay, so just be wary of that. All right, guys. Goody. Okay. So, one more time, let me invite you once again to the workshop IELTS Booster. So if you're watching me on YouTube, just go ahead and click on the link in the description of this video. If you're watching me on Instagram right now, just type join, okay, and you get a link in your direct message, and you can click on the link and join the workshop, okay? So the workshop is 100% free, 100% online, and it's going to happen on the 18th, 20th, and 22nd of August. So soon, soon, soon. Okay. Kaya says something else. Sometimes the strategy or common mistakes could affect the score. Yeah. So again, guys, when it comes to strategies, okay, there are lots of strategies, loads of different strategies, right? And which strategy is the best strategy? The best strategy is the strategy that works for you. That's the best strategy. I have very good strategies that works for 80% of my students, but sometimes they don't. And then I have to help them and come up with different strategies. So what I share with my students is what works for most people. And they say, Fabi, didn't work for me. Sometimes my students are not applying the strategy correctly. That's why it's not working. Okay, that's one of the reasons it doesn't work. So we have to pay attention to that. Okay. But yeah, and common mistakes. Yeah, guys. And again, you need to know your common mistakes. There are, I know you can go online and you can go common mistakes on the IELTS test. Yeah, you can do that. But maybe that's not your mistake. You have to know your mistake. You need personalized help to know exactly what you are doing wrong, your mistakes. Okay. And that's what I do with my students in my course, IELTS with Fabi. Okay. We talk about each mistake that they are making. Okay. They get in touch with me. Okay. Actually, I have to give feedback to two students. They sent me, one student sent me some speaking parts because we did this week on my course, IELTS with Fabi, we did some speaking practice tests. Yeah, that was cool. We did the speaking test and then I gave them feedback. And one of the students didn't do very well in part two. So I asked her to do another part two. And she sent it to me. I have to listen to it. I forgot. I have to reply to her. I forgot to listen to it. I'll do it today. And I have another student who wants to do the test soon. So I'm just checking her progress in listening and reading. Yeah, I have to do that and give them some feedback and tell them if they're ready because my students can only do the test when they're 100% ready. Kaya said something else. My mistake is that I get confused with complex grammar, user phrasal verbs or idioms correctly. Okay, all right. So, um, phrasal verbs. Well, we don't. I was having this conversation with some students last week. So phrasal verbs, they are not that necessary on the IELTS test. You can use them, but it's not like a requirement. Okay. Idioms, if you want a high score, possibly. Okay. If you want a high score, possibly. And what happened here? Okay, I got it. And complex grammar, yes. Guys, if you need a 7, you have to use complex grammar correctly. Complex grammar correctly. So you might try. So let's say you don't have a lot of mistakes, but your grammar is simple. 6. Okay. You tried some complex grammar, but you made mistakes. 6.5. You tried some complex grammar and you succeeded. 7. Okay. So, Kayo, if you know your mistakes, maybe it's time to start thinking about it then. But again, always get someone to check exactly the grammar point. So, you're telling me complex grammar, but what complex grammar? Okay. Make sure you know each point so you can practice it because maybe there are some points that you're good at and others that you don't even know exist. All right. And then maybe if you just learn something new, you could be using it. And make sure you're using things correctly. Yes, guys, that's another thing. Okay. Make sure you use things correctly. Okay. You're confident using it. All right, cool. Any more questions for me? Thank you very much, Kayo, for all the questions. Very good questions. Any other questions for me? No? Don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow. So I'll be with you every day except Sunday and Monday. Well, actually, except Saturday and Sunday for you. Yeah, Saturday and Sunday for you, but I'll be here with you guys every day. All right, just to share because I need to warm you up for the workshop. Okay. And again, guys, as I said yesterday, when I tell people about my workshop, I get lots of messages with lots of questions. That's why I'm with you here every day, just so I can share some of the questions that I get. Okie dokie. All right. So I'm going to go. The best way to talk to me, if you need to talk to me, is on Instagram, Fabi_English. Okay. And you can talk to me there. Okay. Okay has another question. Probably conditionals, collocations, words, and synonyms. The idea is to practice amazing language. Yes, I agree. Collocations are amazing. Okay. Synonyms will help you with reading also, Kyle. So that's great. And conditionals, yeah. But again, remember, you're writing an essay. So yeah, every time we talk about grammar, I think about the essay because that's where people really, really struggle. Okay. So yes, conditionals are important. Okay. So it's good to revise them, but I don't think you're gonna be able to use more than one or two in your writing. Okay. So yeah, be careful with that. My recommendation would be maybe cohesive devices, tenses, and the passive, and prepositions. That's everything that I talk about in my course. These are the most important things, I think. But again, Kyle, make sure you have someone checking it for you just to make sure you're doing the right thing. All right? Goody goody. All right, I'm gonna head out now, guys. So, Kyle, if you have another question, send me a message or stop by tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. Okay? And I'll see you. Bye.